Hello and welcome back to HOI4 with, of course, the Comintern. No, what am I saying? With the Axis. I read Comintern first because it's on top and I'm like, wait a moment, no, that's not right. Anyway, look at that, the capital's in sight of the Japanese army, lovely stuff. And we're about to finish off our invasion of Borneo, which will be lovely. New Guinea also kind of doing things, not entirely sure what's up with that. As to our Egyptian front, we're about to start moving all our troops up into the northern territories, aka La France. But also I feel I should probably apologize for what I did on the last episode, where because of time constraints I wasn't able to actually get thing recorded in post, so I had to just rush it out. Since, I don't know, perhaps it was a bit rude, but then again, it's not like it wasn't just a tiny bit funny. If you say no it wasn't, then you'd probably be correct. Alas, as I was saying, so we have our front line here getting ready for the long holdout against the Allies. Not much of an issue because, well, it's only Egypt. And we're going to start moving some troops into the north of France, just like that. Most likely you're going to go through Italy. Most likely you're going to take a while, simply because, well, I only have one convoy left. The rest have been strangely destroyed. Remember when I referenced that I had no convoys left? Well, here we go. Also, Gibraltar's not ours, because the Spanish lost it like an absolute pillock. So we will have to re-invade that, just to make sure that we can actually use the Strait of Gibraltar. Isn't that just lovely? Moving on, however, we do, there's a few strange situations going on here. First of many, troops are starting to land in the Italian provinces, most likely gonna walk through Europe in a very pleasant time, I'm sure. And here's what I realized, that whoops, I have forgotten about my convoys, and I'm going to scale back some of these and move some to the convoy line, and you'll see soon enough that the convoys will be filling up in a short minute. I do decide to tell them to dock earlier, simply because, well, we don't want to stay in the water that long. The British do seem to be, well, in the area, and no one likes that. However, our submarine convoy is coming down with us. Australia has, of course, capitulated. And, the Americans are going for the giant wakes. What this actually means, no clue. At least they have not yet intervened in this war, which is most pleasant to experience. Gonna start building some infrastructure in the Sahara, simply so that we do actually still have a tiny bit of ability to hold out. No reason not to, I suppose. And after all, it's not like we're trying to get that much through there anyway. Perhaps a bit much on the infrastructure front, I have to admit. But I wasn't really thinking at that time. I was more into the whole capture Calais. I'm not Calais. Well, Calais is going to happen soon too, as well. But Ceuta would have been the more specific. We're going to pull some more troops off the African front, since we do not actually need that many to hold the line. And even then, we don't have to hold it very far. Our naval invasion of the Spanish coast. Well, it was once the Spanish coast, let's just put it that way. Suez Canal, of course ours. It was the greatest fought battle that we ever had, and still probably my proudest moment. Alright, perhaps not that far. Alas, alas, alas. Let us move on. Our militia units getting ready to invade, of course. Sadly, it's a bit of a nuisance because, of course, I can't directly invade, since for some reason the invasion path goes through the Eastern Atlantic, because you're going off the center. Right, that's always an awkward moment, Same thing with with America. I always think that New York is on the west coast simply because I'm thinking from Europe. And of course, from Europe, New York is on the west. However, we have to remember that the US continues further west than just New York. And yeah, so that's where that problem comes from sometimes. Moving on, however, as we said before, invasion is going not swimmingly perhaps, but well enough that you could say it to be bad and horrible. Japan still not able to figure out how China works, poor bastards. And there's, I don't know if it's happened yet, but there will be a straight line directly to the capital without any troops, but no one decides to move into it. Not sure if that has developed just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it had. And we lost Alexandria out of all the things, simply because, of course, we let our troops leave. We didn't leave anyone in Alexandria, so all those people who've been complaining that I, for some reason, decide to put troops on every single harbor in the world, well, the British are good at one thing, and one thing only, and that right there is the idea of naval invading the fuck out of everything. Just imagine if the Americans were in the war. This would be an even bigger problem. Venezuela wants to send us some troops. Well, I'm not about to complain. Our truck, for some reason, taking quite a while to get anywhere at all. Classic. For some reason, our little troop down below is much faster. Anyway, here we go. We start taking back all the ports, and they should be dealt with shortly. Should. There's many shoulds in this situation. More than they're probably necessary to have. And of course the same truck that we just used to take, no, it was just a random infantry unit that just left. Classic. El Alimen will be removed soon enough. Should again be out of supply. Sadly they did take the victory point, which does give them a bit of supply. At least they used to back in the days of Hearts of Iron 3, which was reasonable since of course it was a supply hub, as any city would be. But anyhow, we're going to start taking back some of these lands, and, well, they can't exactly send any more troops, so that's not an issue. German interest in Scandinavia, say. Well, that's nice. And you also say that there's a troop in Africa. Classic. Hey, Germany has declared war on Norway for some strange reason. No one is entirely sure why. They haven't even taken Denmark. And yes, there we go. Or have they? No, they have not taken Denmark. What are you doing, Germany? How do you even live? Anyway, we have engaged our little enemies here, and things should be going quite alright, I think. I'm just going to create a new division. Simply, oops, what did I do here? No, I was trying to create a new division. It was just one militia or one infantry unit to essentially hold the ports, since, you know, that was the reason. Yeah, there you go. Coast Guard, very useful. Very important, I say. We'll build a few of them, since after all they cost me pretty much nothing. And we're going to use them for, of course, the coast. Mostly the Mediterranean. Of course, as soon as we start controlling the straits over on the west side, that shouldn't be an issue anymore. However, yes, I do have to change that naval invasion plan to something more reasonable. After all, we won't actually be able to take the province that I'm looking at right now. Also, France is invaded again, which is lovely. And because my troops have nothing better to do, because we can't actually invade England yet, we have decided to assist in the defense of, well, France. What a strange day it is when that happens. Also, for some reason, my people think it's a great idea to go around in boats through the English Channel, which is chock full of bloody English ships. Aren't they just the most intelligent people ever? Anyway, since I still haven't joined the war, Belarus is still a massive roadblock in the middle of Germany's encroachment onto the Soviet homeland. So that'll go well, I'm sure. We will want to go in there before they get any reinforcements in. Natis would be beautiful to get, but 2 days is probably not going to be enough for what I'm planning to do here. We have destroyed one of the units, the second one should be coming shortly after. This invasion will be an entirely terrible idea, although perhaps we will be able to make it after all. And yeah, once this won't work, so I'm going to have to send him back again. It is a terrible day when all this kind of nonsense happens. As you see, if you try and take the province next to Calais, it's Ceuta, you do actually have to go through the Eastern Atlantic. I did it again. Also, for some reason, my 11 troops went onto the border that had less space on it. This is why Germany's losing against the Soviets right now. Pretty much 100% the reason. Also, the British have paratroopers here, which is quite surprising. However, they don't actually have any airports just yet, making it unlikely that they will be able to even use that special ability of theirs. But for now, I'm sure we can deal with it in however which way we find reasonable. It's going to be a long time here. I'm going to just try and micromanage all this into some semblance of a reasonable containment force. After all, since the Germans aren't going to do it, well, who else is? But the Afghanistani. Oh dear, what a moment in history this is. Well, there goes the pocket that we have now finally removed from existence. I think our invasion has restarted itself. We do have a bit of a push forwards here. Not entirely sure why we went ahead with that. We're going to move back to just holding Egypt, or at least what is modern day Egypt. Letting, of course, the Italians to suffer their fate in Ethiopia, since they are quite useless in pretty much every single war I've ever fought with them. Unless I was the Italians, in which case we conquered the Ottomans in 1913? Was it 1913 or 1912? I'm not sure. Very early, before the war actually started, and for some reason, with such ease, it's surprising that the Ottomans even existed as a nation at that time. Well, we've started cutting into this naval invasion quite happily. It shouldn't take much longer now, however, there are quite a few larger groups of people. And with that, I mean a group of, what? Northern Party is almost 11 troops, there's never 12 and below. So yeah, we're definitely not fighting a small group of vigilantes, but hey, it could be worse. It could be invasion of the baguettes. At least now it's just the liberation of baguettes. Because if we were armed with the baguettes from France, well, no chance for us to win then, I'm sure. It would just be utter chaos, utter carnage on our side. The best and well equipped troops in the Empire. Now, if we could actually engage this entire pocket here, that would be lovely. Germany, you are an absolute knobhead, to be honest. Is it really so difficult to just push? Oh yes, also for some reason they're trying to go through the entire western side of Africa. Not entirely sure why, but hey, that's the reason. Because Ceuta technically counts as part of that contested sea zone. It is really quite strange. And no, I'm not going around all of Africa just to invade Ceuta. That would be a bit ridiculous. Anyway, English Channel, they have been destroying our convoys, who I have not been trying to tell to go across the water. The bloody nitwits. Anyway, we're going to start with some signal companies, or where is it? Logistics? Logistics. After all, we are fighting in pretty badly supplied territory. Of course, that has sort of ended at this point, so this is more of a preparation for Soviet lands and so forth. However, I'm sure we can deal with it all in due time. We actually won a few battles somehow, where we fight convoys ourselves. Mostly of a Mediterranean kind, of course. And we've cut off from Natis, which means there's only one port left, which is of course in the south. That's it for now. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you all next time when we hopefully start invading England.